Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Sugar XO. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. In this video, I will be showing you how to do a beautiful but solid chocolate covered shoe, or chocolate shoe rather. The first thing you're going to need is, of course, the chocolate shoe mold. This happens to be a magnetic one. It comes apart very easily. I've had this one for a while, ever since they first came out. It was initially available inside of the Amazon store, but when the COVID hit, that company, like a lot of companies, ended up discontinuing a lot of services with Amazon. But don't worry, I have found where you can get this exact shoe from, and I will make sure to put it inside of the description link. Okay, guys? The second thing you're going to need is a very long stick, okay? This happens to be one of the wooden skewers, but a long stick. And the reason why you're going to need that is because what I will demonstrate to you is after I pour the chocolate in, when it comes to the heel part, you have to take your stick and you have to go in and out just a couple of times. The reason why you want to do that is because you want to get the air bubbles out. Even if you do not see any air bubbles in there, this is one of the most important steps. There's actually two that will ensure that your chocolate shoe will come out perfect, but this one is the very first one. Every time you pour chocolate inside of this mold, please make sure to go up and down with your stick of your choice inside of this entire heel, okay? The third thing, of course, you're going to need is chocolate. I happen to use Merkin's chocolate and Jatara chocolate, which you can find inside of my Amazon store, inside of the chocolate covered strawberry supply section. I will also have that link available as well. Now, when you pour in your chocolate, a lot of people, they will just pour in just a little, like right here, and they'll swirl it around, put it inside of the heel, you know, create a thin layer, then they'll pour the chocolate out. That is not what I do. I pour the chocolate, honestly, from this stick below, like this first part, I usually have the entire part right here covered in chocolate. And the reason why I do that is, of course, to ensure that as I'm swirling the chocolate all around, the heel will be filled, but also it makes it to where I can create layers. And I'll show you guys exactly how I do that. It's very easy. And that'll make it to where your shoe will be sturdy. It will not be thin. I hear a lot of people asking about it melting in your hand. It's not going to do that if it has a nice solid base. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you guys exactly how to achieve this beautiful chocolate covered shoe. Stand by. Okay guys, so now the next step is, of course, to have the chocolate. I have it inside of a wonderful silicone bowl that was actually a gift from one of my elements on my main channel, Leo the Lioness Queen. Please make sure to subscribe over there. Shout out to Audrey for sending me this off of my Amazon wish list. I appreciate it. And so we're going to pour the chocolate in. I hope that you guys can see. I'm going to pour it in. Okay. All right. So I got it in. Hopefully you guys can see without me pouring it out, but yeah, I have a lot in there. The whole bottom is filled, and pretty much what you do is you take it so that it can go down onto the heel. You have to swish the shoe around. It's going to take some time to do it. Just take your time. Make sure that you are able to get all of the clear that you see. Get it as filled as you can. Okay, so you're going to have to move it around. And as you can see, it's still some parts left. We have to make sure that we get those. If you happen to spill some chocolate out, don't worry about it, but you just want to make sure that all of those little parts, like this part, we have to get that part. You want to make sure that all of that is gone. And, you know, whatever you got to do to achieve it, you might got to, you know, pour it around some type of way. But you see, pretty much I have all of my clear parts filled. Okay. And you notice the amount of chocolate that I put in. I did not pour it out. So now I'm going to hurry up and get some paper towel by, and I'm going to do the part that I told you guys about, and that is going up and down around this heel area, just up and down. Okay. Then I'm going to let that drip out into there. Okay, now we're going to put that to the side. And my chocolate is already starting to kind of set up. It's kind of warm in the house, and that's fine, okay? Because pretty much you want to have it to where it sets up and starts to move kind of slow, because how you create your layers is you pretty much just go around all the areas. Sorry guys, I know I got to keep it to the camera, but I got to kind of do it a funny type of way. And you'll also be able to see that as you're turning it around, because even when you put the first layer in, you'll see that you can still kind of see through the the chocolate, and then as it gets to thickening up, you'll be able to see it disappear. Okay, you'll be able to see that. So like you see that thin little light line, we want that to disappear. And how you make that happen is you swirl it around and you let it sit, you know, for like a couple of minutes, and then like maybe 2-3 minutes. We'll let it sit, and then we'll swirl it around, do another layer. Okay, you just continue that same step until you see a thickness happen. You'll be able to visually see it. Okay, so just stand by. Okay, we're back, and it's been sitting for about 2-3 minutes, and you can see where there's some kind of layers right there. Don't worry about that. And you'll notice again that the chocolate will start to move around. It'll still be movable, but as it starts to set up more, it will be, you know, harder to move at some certain period of time. And like I said, if some spills, don't worry about that, because, you know, it happens. And you see I have to move it around kind of funny like, in order to try to make sure that every edge gets another layer. So you're going to have to move it around. As far as any chocolate that spills off on the side, you do not have to worry about that as of right now. Okay, so I hope you guys can see. So see how I'm having it touch like every layer, and then you let it sit again, and you repeat it for as many times as you see fit. Okay, also another important thing is when you let it sit for like this 2 to 3 minutes a couple of times, make sure that you keep paper towel by in order to wipe any of the wet chocolate off on these edges. You have to wipe it off. It is very important for you to do this step. And the reason why is because if there's any chocolate on anywhere on the edge, as far as on the outside of the mold, if it's any chocolate there and you let that dry, when you go to take that mold apart, it will break straight in half. So make sure each time, I know I keep repeating myself, but I'm just trying to stress to you, you have to make sure that you keep these edges wiped off. Okay guys, so I've let it sit here for a second, and I have constantly been swirling. And if you notice the difference between when I showed you guys when I first got started, you'll notice that the side is thicker. Before, where it was like a little see-through line, you're not able to see it anymore because I literally just keep throwing or making layers rather. And you'll notice that as the chocolate starts to get a little thicker, that is when you can create a beautiful layer. So actually, instead of doing it every 2 to 3 minutes, actually you can kind of wait and do it like maybe every 5 minutes to let the chocolate set up so that you can do your layer. And then, you know, just turn it around and you can see how that side is more solid as well. But again, you just pretty much letting the chocolate do its thing and just moving it around. This is a process that you really have to be patient with, okay? And so, you know, I usually take like the first day to do the shoe after I create the layers, which can take anywhere, honestly, just because of the fact that I am very particular the way I do things. It can take anywhere from like 30 minutes or a little longer in order for me to be comfortable with the amount of layering that I create. Once I create my layers and I feel like it's thick enough, especially on the sides and all in the front, I will literally just let the shoe sit on the counter for hours, like all night long. I'll let it sit there. And as it starts to dry, you will be able to see how it will look. You'll be able to see it actually separating from the shoe. Okay, so no, I do not put it inside of the refrigerator. I literally just leave it out on the counter and just let it naturally take its time to dry, depending on you know what's going on. Sometimes it'll dry, you know, really quickly. Sometimes it won't. You know, that's why I tell my customers anytime they want a shoe, they have to give me at least a week's notice because I put so much time and detail into it. So I make sure that the shoe is solid, and then that's when we move on to the design part, okay? So, looking at it, I'm pretty much satisfied with the layering that I have. I'm gonna do one more swirl around when it comes to all the layering. It has a nice layer and I'm very happy with it, but I just want to do one more to make sure that it's nice and solid. And always make sure that you do the front, so you might have to like put it over a little. Sorry, you may not be able to see that part, but it's just me making sure that this part is also filled. If you see like any little ripples or marks or whatever, don't worry about that. Once it dries, you'll be able to smooth that out. But you guys can probably see now that I've created an actual layer. Okay, now that I'm going to go ahead and let this sit again, the thing that you want to make sure you do before you totally leave it alone, wipe that side. Any chocolate that you see, like this little thing of chocolate right there on the outside, wipe it down. That's very important. Wipe it down, get all that chocolate off of there. And like I said, any parts, like this little part that happened, which you can see how thick the layer is with that happening, don't worry about that. That can easily be smoothed out, okay? You can easily smooth that out with the weight of your hands once it fully dries. But I'll let you guys know exactly how it looks after it has dried. Okay guys, we are back and the shoe is ready to be taken up out of the mold. I sat there, like I told you guys yesterday, and I allowed it to sit during the entire night. plus the whole 12 hours I was at work. And by the time I came back, the shoe was ready to be removed from the mold. Just in case you see a little bit of hesitation, you know, maybe sit it in the refrigerator for about 5 minutes and that's fine. But other than that, you'll be able to really see whether or not it's solid or not. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the reveal. And I start from one side, just nicely lift it off. Again, do not worry about all of this. We're going to cover all of that up. But yeah, this is how it looks. It looks real nice and solid. And then now I put it back on. And we're going to check the other side and see how that came out. So we're going to lift off and it came out good. Very nice and solid, okay? So this is how I choose to decorate the shoe. It may seem weird to other people, but this is how I do. I decide to do one side of the shoe at a time. That way I am not constantly touching the shoe. So I remove one side of the magnetic shoe off. And what I use to actually paint onto the shoe, the method that has been the easiest for me, anybody that is watching this, you guys are free to do whatever it is easiest to you. But this is what has worked for me. I use metallic blue. Well, this is the color I'm using, but this is basically edible airbrush paint. You can find it inside of my Amazon store. It is by the US Cake Supply Company. It usually comes in like 6 packs, and this is the metallic edible airbrush pack. You can get the other edible airbrush packs that don't have to be metallic, but this is just what I choose to use. And so I have that. And then I choose to use Galaxy Dust. Now, Galaxy Dust is considered to be non-toxic, okay? The particular color that I am using is Sapphire Blue. I think it's a beautiful blue. The only time I tend to usually use the disco dust, as they call it, is on the chocolate covered shoes. I do let my customers know it is their choice if they want to still have it. Okay, you will not die. All right, but since there has been a lot of edible, consider FDA approved edible glitters available, that is what I tend to use now, especially on the strawberries. Okay, but when it comes to the shoe, this is just what is easier to apply. It looks good, and I haven't had any issues yet. Okay, and then you need a brush. This particular brush happens to come out of the Wilton 5-piece brush set. You can find it at your local Michael's. You can, also order it off my Amazon store as well. I'll have the link inside of the description box, and you can look inside of the chocolate covered strawberry supply list, and you will find a lot of cool things in there that you can use. But this is what I use. So now what I'm going to do is, this is how I do it. Make sure to shake up the edible metallic blue. And I put a little bit inside of any little container, it doesn't matter. And pretty much what I do is I take this brush, dip it in on both sides. You guys see how I dip it in? And then I take whatever color glitter I'm going for, dab it on there like so, and I just get to painting. Now initially when you are putting it on, it's going to look like you are not getting anywhere, but as you keep on dabbing on, you'll notice that the glitter will start to stick. Okay, so do not get alarmed if you choose to decorate it the same way I'm telling you to. When you get to rubbing and you like it's not staying, you have to continuously rub. And as you guys can see already, there are parts and areas that are starting to stick. It's a constant dipping and spreading. And just keep doing it. When it comes to these shoes, as I will say, and a lot of things I do on this particular channel, and I've said on my other channel, patience. Have to be patient. So you guys see how I did that. And you just keep on spreading until you can't spread no more. Usually about 1 container of glitter is enough to do 1 shoe. It just, you know, depends on how you spread it. If this is your first time doing it, I would suggest to get 2 containers of the disco glitter until you get used to spreading it. Okay, so you guys see how I was able to achieve that. And I like to get the disco glitters that have like the metallic effect to it as well, because you see how it just brings a really pretty thing to it. Okay, so I'm going to dip in again. All right, take the glitter, dip in, and like I said, start spreading. And surprisingly, this stuff dries pretty fast. And as you keep rubbing, eventually, real quickly, you'll see that a layer will develop. Okay guys, now that I'm back, what I pretty much do is after I paint the very first side of the shoe, I put the magnetic mold back on, and then I flip it and begin on the other side. I just find that to be much easier. It also makes it to where the other side is not affected by the surface that you are doing the shoe on. I happen to be using a silicone mat. You can also find that inside of my Amazon store as well. But basically the goal is to basically not handle the shoe as much as you possibly can with your hand, because even with the gloves that I'm wearing, it does help to where the shoe does not melt so fast, especially with it being a thick layer, but still you have to worry about the heat of your hand. So the gloves only protect so much. So pretty much you just paint it up, and then I put the other side of the mold back on as well, flip it in the middle, and start basically decorating the inside of the shoe. And you know, I pretty much just use the same airbrush edible paint on the inside and just go for what I know. You can do the inside any way that you like, and just makes it very simple. You can put strawberries inside, maybe 3 strawberries, or you can just leave it plain. It depends on what your creativity is and what the customer requires. All right guys, now we have the finished product. Okay, this shoe is absolutely gorgeous. I painted it on both sides. I have it as the side view just so that you can see exactly how beautiful it is. Make sure not to touch it too much, because of course if you hold it entirely too long, the heat of your hands will get to it. The gloves will help to where it doesn't happen that quickly. But yes, it's done. And it turned out beautiful. I pretty much just did the inside with the metallic edible airbrush paint. And yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Bottom of the shoe. And like we have a little area that's right here. And all you got to do is just take a little bit of the airbrush liquid and just brush it up. So you just pretty much go around the entire shoe with your brush. Brush up any areas that need to be touched up and let the shoe dry. It dries rather quickly, and then you have a gorgeous shoe. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. As for how you can box this shoe, you can actually get a craft box, paint it up really pretty, you know, put the shoe inside. This is about a size 6 shoe, and it will be a gorgeous gift. Put a ribbon around it, just make it very, very beautiful. So use your creativity to make you stand out from the rest. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them inside of the comment section. And I hope that you have an awesome night. Bye, guys.